right, thank you guys for coming to our seminar. This is Ty Rose. He runs the Holden Dojo. I'm Tracy Rose, T Rose. I run the Northborough Dojo. Today we're going to work on dynamic movement for Uechi Combatives. Right. Now this is your time, it's not my time, so if you have anything that you want to stop and dwell on, please let me know. We can easily do 2 hours on this subject. We work on it a lot, but we only limit it to about 40 minutes, I believe. So we're going to go real fast, and if there's any issues, any questions like that, just stop me. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, they've always had a problem with
that's why I'm doing this.
Sounds. Okay. All right. So, what is combatives? If you listen to Mr. Matson yesterday, he will tell you that there's a lot of different ways to do karate. There's the art form, there's the fighting form, everything like that. Karate does this. Fighting is like this. So, Uechi Combatives, we basically take the concepts, ideas, and drills of fighting and kind of like of Uechi and kind of tune them for fighting. Period. All right, what do I mean by a fight? I'm not talking about sparring. Sparring and fighting, sparring is a necessary tool, a great tool, a fantastic tool to get you ready for fighting, whether it's in the ring or in the street or whatever else, but sparring is not fighting, it is a tool. Sparring is kind of like, one last quick thing before we move on from the batters. I have a swimming pool, I don't go in the deep end. All right, I did a swimming pool for me is get in there with a floaty, a couple of cores, lie around, have a good time. I don't go in the deep end for 2 reasons. One, I don't practice swimming. So my ass has no business being in the deep end. All right, make sense? All right. Number 2, I don't have a deep end in my pool. See reason number 1. All right. Same idea for fighting. If you don't practice the concepts of fighting, don't get into a serious altercation. All right, we're going to give you a concept, we're going to give you a couple of drills, and we're going to do some technique. All right, when we do the technique, what I really like you to do is think about the concept and the drills. It's just implementation of the drills that we're doing, and if you master the drills, if you master the concept, everything's wide open to you. If you learn to do one technique, that's what you have, one technique, and if it doesn't line up right, if you're not standing on one foot swinging a chicken over your head when the punch comes, then, you know, you're SOL, shit out of luck. Right there. So we're going to work on it. First concept of dynamic movement, right? Our concept that we're going to have, right, is movement is king, but power rules. Movement is king, but power rules. You guys got that? Movement is king, but power rules. In order to have proper movement, you have to have an efficient structure. If your structure is efficient, then you can be dangerous. If you're not dangerous all the time, then you shouldn't be fighting. So if I'm moving here and I have to move like this, all that time I'm moving, I'm not dangerous. All right. First thing we're going to do when we move, we're going to give you a couple of basic steps that we do in our combatives classes. Whenever you move, again, there are a ton of different ways to do this. We're just giving you one-on-one stuff to get people started. When you start to move, have that knee always over that front foot. All right, Ty, can I borrow you a second? All right, have that knee over that front foot. As soon as that knee gets behind that foot, you're going to have to do something we call a step drag. And when you start step dragging, you're just setting yourself up. All right, so every time I move, so now when I'm moving on Ty, right, I'm moving on Ty, I'm set to go. I'm ready to deliver, right? So the first action we're going to say is, let's see, why are my hands up? Why are my hands up? Right? Why do I keep my hands up? What's that? To protect you, no. I put my hands like this, that protects me. I put my hands like this. Why do I have hands in Uechi style? All right, really, really simple. My hands are up so I can kill this guy. That's simple. Right? My hands are here, I can hit him. My hands here, I can start to hit him. I can move. So my hands are always pointing at the guy I want to hit. All right? Number 2, dynamic movement is really important because most of you guys can handle a one-on-one altercation. But what about multiples? Right? If you've ever been in a multiple situation, it is not fun, it's not pleasant. You have to move through the hit through the move. And what I mean by that, there are a lot of times when we train, we're taught to move, stop, hit, move, stop. That's just the way the training is. You have to codify the training, and when you codify it, you introduce errors. Right? If you realize what the errors are, we call them training dingleberries. Right? If you realize what the errors are, then you can train around them. If you don't realize what the errors are, you're going to make that mistake over and over and over. All right? So the first step, I want you guys all to try it and stuff like this, is what we call the utility step. Now the assumptions, we always have to make assumptions. The assumptions that we're going to make right now is that this guy wants to fight. All right, he's pissed off, he's aggravated, I killed this cat, I don't know why, I don't really give a, I don't really care. All right, he's pissed off and he wants to fight, so I don't have to go find him. When we're sparring, We're sparring, we're doing all this stuff, the distance is way, way, way here. When we're fighting, the distance is here. So it's gonna be much more explosive, it's gonna be much, much quicker, and you have to be cleaner, right? Here, I can put my hands down, I can work, I can be flashy. Here, there's no time, so everything has to be clean. So we're gonna go right back to our basic Sanchin stance, where our body is gonna use the motion, and the motions here is gonna give us our defense. There is no difference between offense and defense. You cannot have one without the other. So when you do dynamic moving, your head is gonna move to the target zone, move to the target zone. From this one step, we're gonna work. Second thing we're gonna work on is I have to get my body, my weight into the target. My hips have to come through. So if I'm doing my Sanchin like this, good hit, by simply letting that knee bend, right, there's a little bit more to it, letting that knee bend, now my weight comes through. Now when I hit him, I can put my weight into it. So whenever you're moving for a strike, two things are gonna happen. You're gonna drop your weight into that target, and your head's gonna go through the kill zone. Right, so I'm not going to stop here, hit, pop my head up like this and take one back. My head's going to go through the kill zone. So that step, we call it a utility step. We could do the utility step in two ways. One, frontwards. That knee goes from above my foot, center of my foot, it goes to what we call heavy foot. That knee comes slightly forward. Slightly forward. Now see my head dip? Now my head just dropped a level. Now, my head drops a level, and now when I hit him, my body weight goes into it, and look where I'm at now. Right? Now the second thing, the defense end, is when I go like this and I bend that knee, right? Again, I'm locking my hips Sanchin-wise. If I don't lock my hips, I get this action. My back has to stay straight. If my back doesn't stay straight and I bend over, my weight is centered, I'm off balance, and look at my recovery. I'm not dangerous. The mantra we use is how dangerous, how often. How dangerous am I, how often? So again, here's your utility step. We're gonna have you guys just do it 10, 15 times. Touch, back. Touch, back, touch, back. So when we come in, I don't want to get stuck in the mud and all of a sudden have to reset to move. All right, whether I'm following up with that attack. So just like that, touch, back, touch, back, touch, back, touch, back, touch, back, touch, back. Now here's what I want you to do with your partner and stuff. We're going to do two drills. I'll give you both drills now to save a little time. Now all of a sudden, Ty's going to throw a lead at me. We do not do jabs, we do leads. All right? Oh, by the way, anything we throw out here, if you guys have questions or you want to work on it or just spend a few more minutes, Ty will be here all weekend, so feel free to grab him in the corner and kind of go. Here's what I want you to do. May I? Here. See? Here. Just touch. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm just going to bend my knees. I'm not going to put anything into it. Look at the difference, right? Even if I just touch him like this and don't even extend my arm, that's the power we're talking about. Now when you put the rotation into it, so I want you to touch and come back. Touch and come back. So I preload this leg, touch, my head goes to this shoulder. So my head goes to that shoulder, so when I hit over to that shoulder, and I always pull a guardrail. So here, pull a guardrail because now I can kind of work them. Does that make sense? When I get here in the kill zone, I have two choices. Kill them or get the hell out. All right, metaphorically kill them for all you lawyers and stuff like that. So when I come in here like that, I'm going to work. And see, I come right through. So when I pop this leg right here, we come to the next one. Utility step forward, backwards, backwards. Notice when I go backwards, watch my head. Watch my head. So now Ty pops a lead, look what's gonna happen. See? Now Ty pops a lead, here. And look, instantly ready to come back, right? Right? Why do I go? Oh, I already asked you a question. Why do I go backwards? Get out of the way? No, to attack them in a different direction. Whenever you move into an area, whenever I move into an area, if I'm blocking punches, I'm wasting time. Right? When I move into an area, we're going to work on this in a little bit. If I move over here, I need to govern this area. This is my territory now, I govern it. So when he throws that lead, I block it, move backwards. He's still coming, he still has the time, and I need to usurp that timing. So when he does that, I pop this way. Now look, I have an entry point. I have a dynamic entry point. You guys see that? So if I come straight back on it, I get all kinds of action. He pops that lead. Now look what I can do. I have an entry point. So I want you guys to do, please, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. See? In. Now, when you get there, be there. When you get there, why are we going in? Everybody, why are we going in? To kill the guy. So when you get there, you better have your best shit forward. When you get there, you can't be looking pretty. You get there, you're going to work. So you're here, you're ready to go. When I come back here, why are we going backwards? To attack from another direction. So we're going to go from here, get into better territory. So here's your drill. Ty does a lead. 1, back to neutral. 2, back to neutral. 1, back to neutral. 2, back to neutral. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. See how quick you can move that way? But the distance very short. Okay? Utility step. Go ahead, practice that. 20 seconds, we'll move on. Quick, 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 quick. Hey, Ty, let me borrow you. Put your eyes over here, please, those all. All right. The assumption that we made is that we're fighting. All right? The Okinawans say a fight is when somebody goes to the hospital or somebody goes to the morgue. That's what we're talking about. So if I'm doing the drill, hands up, please. I'm doing the drill and I'm doing this. What's my problem? Yeah, he's gonna take my head off. That's pretty stupid, right? So what I do when I do it, let's say I'm doing a lead, put your lead here and just relax. The tension's here in your shoulders, your elbows are heavy. When your elbows are heavy, your hands are loose. Your hands are loose. Okay, does that make sense? So imagine there's a shoebox between us. A shoebox, could be a pair of sneakers or something like that. Your hands stay in that shoebox, but it's not your hands, right? It's your core. Your elbows are dropped, your hands are relaxed, so my hands are in that core here. Right? As soon as my hands come down, I have an issue. Now my hands are pointed at what I want to hit, because as soon as this guy twitches, I'm going to hit him. Now, you see what I just did there? When I hit him, I didn't hit him this way. Right? I did a falling step. Jack Dempsey calls this a falling step. Right? I just dropped this way. I call it a utility step. I drop here, drop my weight into it here, took myself out of that target zone, but now my hands come back to the shoebox. So no matter how I move for me, no matter how I move, two things happen. My hands are always in the shoebox, and my feet are lined up at my target. If this foot is lined up with that target, move for me, whoa, everything's there. Everything's there. Now, if my hip, my rear foot is turned here, stay here. If my rear foot is turned this way, look. As soon as I turn it forward, I can hit him, right? Because it opens up my hips. So again, efficient movement is based on structure, efficient structure. If my structure is correct when I'm moving, I'm dangerous all the time, all right? Now, did that answer your question, sir? We'll get to it in a second and stuff. The question was about planting. Quickly.
Most of us learn to punch and kick with our feet planted to generate power.
Yeah, they're wrong. Yeah, they're wrong. Now, I'm gonna clean that up a little bit. You have to plant, or root, as we call it, for the half a millisecond that you're putting power on a person. When you receive power, like Ty punches at me, and I move backwards, he's gonna knock me over. However, I don't want to plant here and absorb all his power. Right? So the idea of planting, the concept of planting, we spend too much time on that. What you should be thinking about is how to relax. How to relax. Right? Because look what you're doing in San Chin. All the time that you're generating all this power here, when you get here, that's when you have to transfer power. You have to make power, shift power, transfer power. And I pick my heel up a lot because I have bad ankles. Right? I have bad ankles. I don't teach that. You'll always see my ankle up this way because my ankle, my wrist don't bend anymore. I hit too much shit all my life. All right? All right, does that make sense? Okay, so now the basic step that we use to transfer weight is a cat stance. Cat stances are totally misunderstood. The idea of how to use them is being more and more just obfuscated and lost. The way you do a cat stance, and what people try to do, or the way it's taught a lot of times, not everywhere, is they're told to pick up their foot and do this. Now, I'm going to exaggerate, but see my weight? What do I want to do? I want to shift my weight into the technique. Does that make sense? So I'm going to start with doing a cat stance. I'll be in my stance this way. I bend my back leg and just do that. Just do that. Just do that. Just do that. Now, me personally, when I'm sparring, when we do our contact sparring, I try to never have my weight 50-50. 50-50. How many of you guys are told keep your weight 50-50? Like that and stuff? Oh, go on, you can be honest. You can be honest, yeah. When your weight is 50-50, when you're sparring and stuff, that means you have to decide where you want to go, shift and then go. Shift and then go. Even if you're wrong half the time, half the time you'll be right, prepared to go. So whenever I come in on a guy like Ty, a big strong guy that knows how to fight, whenever I come in, I'm there. I'm there. So now I can easily shift. Now here's how you shift your weight. Cat stance forward, lack of a back turn, cat stance backwards. Cat stance forward, cat stance, and watch my head. So we're sparring and stuff. I just shifted my weight, just shifted my weight, just shifted my weight, just shifted my weight. He doesn't even know. So Mr. Bethany did this nice little skip step here. So from here, I just shift my weight, and I'm there. See how easy that is? So from here, right, I was told by a very senior person once to put your toes down like that. And I'm like, well, why do you do that? Well, that way when people kick, you can go like that, you have extra room to block. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So here, shift, 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 shift. So now you're doing say Lou. Here, that cat stance. So now instead of this, look how long that takes. Now when you do this, you're in a cat stance, pin foot, pivot foot. This foot is bent. There's a lot of power here. This is like the rudder on a boat. So this one pushes in here. This one pushes. This one pushes. So now I'm changing directions. Now this sets up for what we call the transmission step. Right? The transmission step is what you're going to use for a dynamic entry or a dynamic exit. A dynamic entry is an entry that you go in and you're prepared to deliver explosive power on the target. A lot of times people be here. They'll come in. They'll plant and do that. Now they're stuck in the mud. They're right in the target zone here. They haven't shifted their weight, and now they're wide open. So all we're going to do is the same thing here. Let the weight drop. See, let the weight drop. And I usually go into this position here because it's easy for me to use. Now here, look where my head is. Look where my eyes are. Look where my hands are. Now I'm ready to come back and do what I need to do. So I come into here. This way I can easily come back here, and then I can hit. Okay? So let's do, transmission. So here, transmission, reverse cat stance this way. Front cat stance, back. If it works one to the front, why not to the back? We use small, sharp steps versus long, dragging steps. When I use a long, dragging step, I'm not dangerous until I'm back here. I use a short one that I can cut angles. Cutting angles is cool. Be careful when you come in, we do that, don't go podium. Why are we going in? All right, so you go in and stuff, you better be ready. Don't go and be podium right here, because there's going to be a lot of power going back and forth. All right, so here's what I like you to do. Transmission step, touch and go, touch and go, touch and go. Imagine, visualize a super ball. Remember like when I was like 5 years old, 6 years old, those wicked hard balls that bounce like crazy, and your brother said, hey, throw it against the ground, and you went like that, and it came back up and took your face off? I want you to think of those. It compresses like that, then explodes out. So when you come back, you're going to compress, 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 and come in. Compress and go. Compress and go. Compress and go. Compress and go. So now that lead comes in. Compress, come back in. Compress, and come back in. So what did I do? He comes with the lead. I shift it out. Eyes on, hands on the target. Now I'm dynamic, ready to go. And my counter is over the top. So he fires. Whatever that counter is, now it's over the top. Now look at that leg is bent. So now I can come out and come back over here. Whatever I need to do. Remember, movement, movement, movement. All right, here's what I want you to do. 1, 2, 3. Watch your head. 4. And then try it this way. This is called the snake step. 1, 2, 3. Look, Uechi-Combatives number 1. Yeah? I don't make this up. I'm not that smart. Yes, sir.
Quick question. If you were to switch stances, what's the quickest way?
Snake step. If I was to change stances, what is the quicker way? Why do I change stances? I want a different angle.
I personally find myself jumping.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, don't do that. Let me say why I don't do that. We're going to be fighting. His hands are pointing at me. He wants to hurt me. So I go. All the time on the air, am I dangerous? Can I move? Can I hit him? All I'm going to be is a heavy bag, and even Stevie Wonder can hit a heavy bag. All right, I'm going to be right here, and he's just going to hit me. So what if I switched out? So watch what I did. Reverse, weight shift, see, press. See, reverse, press. So now we're here, fire. And I'm right back in there. See what I did? Drop and then right back in. Look how much time that takes. Drop and then right back in. And if you practice your Uechi-Combatives that way, especially number 1, you'll have it. Don't rotate. No. Do not rotate your hips. If you rotate your hip, if I rotate my hips this way, look at my hip line. See? That little punch that we did. If I do this, turn into them, I can hit. All right. Do the snake step, the transmission drill 2 or 4 times. I want to get in some drills. Please. Remember, your mantra is how dangerous, how often. Movement is king, but power rules. Fix your hands, please. Get your hands in the, yes, get your hands on. Fix your hands, please. Get your hands in the box. Elbows, all right, put your hands out here like this. Shake your fingers like this. Right, now just drop your shoulders like that. That's where your hand's gonna be. So now, no matter how I move, my hands are in that position. As soon as I try to put my hands, so I put them in the air and I move, they break down. You'll see this against Shiwa Bunkai. People will go like this. Leave their hands behind. Drop your shoulders, that way when you move, no matter how you move, your hands are gonna be in that kill box. All right, come on 1 second, we'll do the first one. Don't step, don't step, don't step.
How do you switch again?
You switch to the rear. I switch to the rear. If I switch to the front, then I cut an angle. See, if I'm here and I go like this, I'm just right here. So what I do is I come and I cut an angle. See, that's my line here, see? That's my line. So if I switch forward, I cut an angle, and I'm attacking on this side and coming on the straight line here. If I switch backwards, it's because that's coming here, that's coming, or you're coming, I'm gonna come over here. You see what I mean? So watch again. If I'm over here fighting, I go straight in this way, I got a problem. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this way and then come in. So it'll be a draw here and go. It's a transmission, so I drop my weight here in that rear foot and then press off of it. You see? Really clean, really efficient. He's coming on this side. Now I got him over here. I'm just attacking in a different direction. Don't rotate your hips. Do not rotate your hips. Do not rotate your hips.
Do that one more time.
Sure. Okay. And this leg's flexed, so I just do that. Make sense? All right, let's get to work. There's Kimosabi. All right, now what I want you to do, okay, I don't care what this guy knows. Again, the assumption is there's no weapons involved, no knives, no guns, no ugly dogs or something like that. I don't care what he throws. I'm gonna govern a territory. If I wanna go over here and he's throwing a right straight or right hook or a right haymaker or spitting in my face, I don't really care. This is my territory. I'm going over here because I have a purpose. All right, so I'm gonna clear that territory as I go in. We're gonna work this on a couple of different ways. I'm gonna change the first one slightly. We had some requests to do more framing. We did some framing at Mr. Durkin's a couple of weeks ago, and people wanted to kind of work on that a little bit, so we'll do it. So I'm gonna have you guys, instead of throwing a good straight right drop and your shoulder into it like this, I'm just gonna have you open it up a little bit. Right? When you open it up this way, it gives you a chance to kind of learn it. All right, so Ty throws that a little right to me. Now, if I stay in my position, look how much weight and power I have to take. Do a little harder, please. Look, I'm gonna get rattled. Even if I stop it, I have to reset and move again. So I don't like this spot. I'm gonna shift over here, Ty. I'm gonna put my eyes on him. I keep my eyes on him. I'm gonna drop with the little utility step here. Watch, drop you, so, and look where I'm at here. I don't have to hit his arm, though, I can just hit him here and do whatever I want to do. So let's do a little frame. Frame is just setting up a structure to ensure distance. That's it. That's it. So in Uechi, you see framing right here. So if I'm like this in a Uechi and Ty presses at me, I can't hold him, right? But as soon as I go into San Chin, Ty presses at me, I've guaranteed space here, framing. So we're gonna do an overhook into a frame. So we're gonna go here, we're gonna turn. Eyes are right here. Now look, bridge. Bridge. On the other end of the bridge is all the good stuff. Here, eyes here, leg loaded up. The leg's loaded up, so instantly go into guns. So from here, I'm gonna go over, see? Over, here, bridge on the face. And that's in. From here, you can do anything you want. All right, so he's gonna come this way. I'm gonna hit, boom, boom, come over. Now you see how I entered? Dynamic entry, slowly. Turn into him, leg loaded. I'm out of the kill box. I'm looking at him over here. Instead of striking him, I decide to control over. Now take the chin, open C, underneath the chin, head back, rotate it. Set your frame up so your elbows are aligned with your hips, so you're not framing like this, right? You're not a Uechi, you're not framing like this, you're framing with your core, your body. So when I'm framing, I'm here, look at my position. See, when I'm framing out here, get that chin up. He's got a strong neck, lock out. I can't move his head back, turn it. Now I control his core, and I can do whatever I want. All right, try that really quick. I want to do 2 of these, we'll move on. One, Ty goes after my arm, right? He goes after my arm. You just got stabbed. Ty goes after my arm. You just got punched. You have no idea where this is going. We are not blocking a technique. Blocking a technique is inefficient. You have to block sometimes, we call those OS blocks. Like something coming, oh shit, right there, and you gotta kind of do something about it and stuff. But in general, if he's throwing a punch, counter punch, and I block it, I haven't really gained anything. When you spar, you block a lot because that's the nature of sparring. It's fun, right? But when we're talking about dynamic entries, you cannot do a kind of a block area. All right, that was the first thing. So when I move over, he's going at an arm, I'm coming over here, I'm rooted to the ground, I'm solid here for that half second we make contact, now I'm ready to move, my eyes will discern the target. What you do is a target-based striking system at its base with upstanding grappling, some ground stuff. So here now I'm lined up with that eyes, now the idea is how am I going to shift my weight, how am I going to move? So here, step out, let's do that again. Here, conch in, same thing, same idea, bam, bam, bam. Same thing, but watch the technique. Here, same thing with conch in. What do we do in the kata? See, so here. Now my eyes are over here, my eyes aren't over there because that's what I'm interested in. Where my eyes go, my body's gonna go. So now the same thing, see that leg is probed up. That's that cat stance we talked about. Now I press over here, drop my weight over here. When I drop my weight over here, look what my hands do. See, weight on this side here. Now my head went through the kill zone here. You see how the head moved through? So it's really difficult for him to hit. Now that leg's moved up here, I loaded up, that one's ready to go, so I just press on this one, turn back, and look, shift my weight again. So all we basically did was here, here, here. That's your basic step. Now you see it all over the place in the training, but you just don't recognize it. Right? Snake step, there's a question about how we do the snake step. When I'm going backwards, I want to get a different angle on him. He's coming in with a full head of steam. I don't want to take it here. The best escape, we teach beginners, we teach them this angle here is your best escape route. Right? If Ty were to stick out his right hand here like he's punching, right, he can nail me right here. He can nail me right here. If I take 3 or 4 inches on this line right here, utility step here, can't reach me. So no matter what he does, he punches, he kicks, he speaks bad of my wife, I go here. Just like that, and then I'm ready to go back in, transmission stuff. So he tries to punch, here, now I'm ready to go back in. You see, so when you do the snake step going backwards, this leg has all the action. This leg has all the action. Weight shift, turn my rudder, push. Shift your weight. Weight shift, turn my rudder, push. Shift my weight. So remember that drill we did? So when I press over here, now I'm ready to go back forward. If I go over here and I root and I stop 5 minutes, and I stop here, I can't move again. So what I do is I preload my leg so I can move again. So snake step back, snake step forward, right? Forward, here. So forward, if I come forward and I do it with the step, now when you're fighting, even heavy sparring, very rarely this range will I step through. Right? When I step through right about here, look at my stance here, I have no stability here, and if anything happens to me right here, I'm going to get reset. Right? So that's why here we slide. So when you step, it's going to be Sanjin step here, and then look, same sliding action. All right? So when I step forward, I want to get out of this kill. Why would I do, hands up please, why would I do this? You know, I would do that maybe if I'm coming in, you know, full head or this, but why not just do this? Now look at the angle I have. And when I do that, I'm going to body check him. I'm going to check this way. See my hands this way? Now I can push his hands down. I tag him, and now I can come and do anything I need to. So your snake step, push, push, push. Forward, forward. You got to turn your hips. See, forward, turn your hips into him, and then instantly go. Instantly go. I had 3 pages of stuff, of drills we were going to go, but we kind of ran out of time. So we're going to take the last 2 minutes. Is there anything you guys want to go over? Oh, Senti Dow, how are you, sir? Okay. That guy can move. Right? Anything you guys want to go over again? We talked about explosive power, dynamic entries, the basic drills to get you so you can move correctly. Well, I don't want to say correct, that's, you know, move more efficiently for the assumptions that we had. Is there anything that you guys want to go through? Yes, sir.
Stepping. Is it possible to go through that step?
Oh, utility step?
Step back and then kind of re-engage to attack.
Yeah. Utility step. All right. All I'm going to do is just pick up that much distance. That much distance. And the trick of the utility step is I want to pick it up at the right time. Why am I doing that? Stick your left hand out, please. Here's the problem. So if I wait at the right time, fire that left. Look at my head right here. Now look. Once that's it, I'm loaded up. Don't move 2 feet. If I move 2, let's do it again. If I move 2 feet, see now I can't re-engage. Now I'm in defensive mode. When I do that right here, when I do the utility step there, I'm going to press with this leg, turn my hips out. Now he fires it. Now look where I'm at. Look how close I am. I've entered on his action. I've entered on his action. Watch again. I go backwards. Look what I'm looking at. Plus I'm in defensive mode. Right? He pushes it. I come off to the side. Here, I've got my golden angle again. And now look, I own everything. All right? One last one. He's going to do a push. He's going to do a push. And now we do our seisan in this position here. We come into a framing action. How many of you guys do your opening of seisan here? How many people do the opening here? All right, we do it the framing action. So he's coming in this way. We framed. And now we can hit because it's based on our movement. If he's swinging wide, now when I do it this way, I pull it in, same in. That position right there is a trapping action. So just so you know the difference, I view this as a trapping action, this is a framing action. There's just a subtle difference. So because we do a lot of dynamic movement in our kata, our seisan is here versus here. Here. Okay, we got 1 minute left. Any questions, thoughts, concerns, consternations? We all good? Remember, Ty's here all weekend. Feel free to use them and abuse them. All right? Oh, thank you, guys.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe to Live Dandy.